let's talk about. So, first things first, notice. I have got 250 categories in here now. I had a pretty little blue tin that I rattled that was very effective. Now I've got a flipping great bag. Maybe I will buy myself a box of chocolates for Christmas, a box of Quality Street. Maybe I love the toffee pennies and the toffee logs. Don't touch my toffee pennies and my toffee logs. Although I do worry about my teeth. Getting turkey teeth next year. Can't wait for my turkey teeth. So, let's talk about, pick 3 categories, put 2 back, talk about 1. Let's see what we've got. 1, 2, 3. Need my peepers on. Which one day would you like to relive? Tell me a secret. No, they're mine. Fun fairs, love them or hate them. Now that would be the tame one to go for. I'm not telling you any of my secrets. How dare you ask? So putting those 2 back, I'll put them on the side because I'm going to do a couple of rounds. Okay, no, that's Tell Me a Secret. This is the one I want. No, it isn't. Third time lucky, this is the one I want. Just let me refresh my memory. Which one day in your life would you like to relive? I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to do it. Why not? I'm an open book. I'm an author. I write books for a living. And I've been asked, all this social media rubbish is so that my readers can get to know me. The stupid karaoke, it's awful. The trying on clothes when I'm an overweight old lady, it's awful. This game is quite good fun and it sparks some interesting topics. So I'm going to do this and I'm regretting it before I do it, and Mark will probably kill me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So one day I would like to relive the 6th of June 1968. I was 5 years old and my father took my mother and I on a fishing trip to the most beautiful ponds called Ron Head round us. It's R-O-A-N, Rowan Head, but all the locals pronounce it Ron Head. My mother is quite famous around these parts, though not to me. My mother drowned that day when I was 5. I was there when she was pulled out of the water. I had nightmares for years about monsters because they had all the paraphernalia on. The divers went down. These ponds are old mine shafts and they're like bottomless pits. They go on for hundreds of feet. My mum's body would never have been found, but for the fact that she sank 30 feet and landed on a ledge. The divers found her and brought her up. I was in an ambulance at the time and saw that. Now, I know local people are going to say that's impossible. You couldn't have seen it because there's trees all the way around. Yes, there are now. At the time, the ponds were far more open. My father was arrested on site. Everything from our area was bagged by the police, cigarette butts, picnic. It was checked for poisons. Locals around here believe my father murdered her. Some of my family are divided. Half of the family, including me, believe that my dad murdered her. I don't remember. I was 5 years old. Had a mental block. I don't remember it. What was fascinating and inadmissible in court, and I have since researched this lady. I'm 62 years old. I was born in 1963. My father was 61 when he had it off to produce me. He was an old man. People used to say, is your granddad picking you up today? I had a series of foster parents. some for holidays, some more permanent. And then I went to a boarding school for people like me. Inadmissible in court. My mum had bruising around her neck. My dad told two different stories. The first story was that they'd had an argument and he went to the pub. The nearest pub is miles away. This is a very secluded area. He did go to the pub. He did. And he made his presence felt there so that everybody would know he'd been to the pub. Says he came back, Connie gone. Quite a famous case, George Simpson. My mother was Connie Simpson, Ulverston, 1968. My mum had bruising round her neck, so my dad changed his story. He then said he was there when it happened. She had an epileptic fit, went into the water. My mother was an excellent swimmer. Went into the water and he bruised her, pulling her out, panicked and didn't tell the police because he thought he'd be accused of foul play. This story takes a turn that I could only write in one of my books, but it's actually true and can be researched. My father was previously married and his first wife died in suspicious circumstances. He was quite a famous music hall entertainer. He was one of the original British black and white minstrels. Horrible now, the connotations of slavery and what have you, but it was something he was very proud of, and I grew up quite proud that he was that. I now know better. He was friends with Harry Seacombe, Spike Milligan, Eric Sykes. He met Judy Garland and Julie Andrews. He was quite big on the London circuit doing the theatres. In those days, there was no social security. Social security didn't exist. So my dad was on the stage. He lived in a boarding house with 22 other performers made up of circus freaks, because we still had them in those days, and entertainers. He met his wife, who was, now I've never been able to find out what was wrong with her, but she was a severely deformed, disabled lady. My dad married her. Now, there was no social securities in those days. There were no benefits. You worked, you went to the workhouse, or you died. We're in 1968 and those conditions were still prevalent. You had to make a living. And my dad saved this lady by marrying her and putting her on the stage. And they had quite a famous double act, a comedy act, where this poor lady was rolled out or whatever and made a fool of, basically, and people roared in the aisles. It's tragic, a tragic story. She died suddenly and tragically. And my father was suspected of having a hand in that. When it came to my mum, inadmissible. It was not allowed to be put forward as evidence because it had nothing to do with the case. How the bloody hell can one thing not relate to the other? How? Yeah, I've done it. I'm undecided whether I will post this one, but I want my readers to know me. It is very personal. It is my life. Now, to put balance on it, my brother vehemently didn't believe that my father killed my mother or anybody else. My auntie, on the other hand, who I lived with immediately after my mum died, 100% believes that he did. We had hotels. We owned 2 hotels. We owned the Grapes in Ulverston and the Britannia in Dalton at the time. We were living in the Brit. And apparently, when my dad was released, he went back to the pub and he was sitting at the bar with his Express newspaper, reading the newspaper and picking out his horses. He was a big gambler. Picking out his horses for the day. He was whistling when she went in. He'd lost his wife. He'd been in prison. He'd been released on remand or pending further investigation or whatever. And he was whistling 2 hours out of coming out of the cells. My auntie walked in through the back door. She saw him with his paper, whistling a happy tune. And when he saw her, his face crumpled. He burst into tears. Oh, my Connie, my Connie, my Connie. What's going to happen to my little girl, my Connie, my Connie? She didn't believe it for a second. Do I believe he did? Do I love the drama of it? I lost my mum. I don't miss my mum because I didn't know her. I have no memories, or very few, very scant memories of those times. But I do miss having a mum. I've always missed having a mum. Do I just feed into the drama of the whole story, or do I genuinely believe it? I do. I mean, I was with this man for a few years. Yeah, I believe he did it. Anyway, I'm not sure that this was a nice chat. I'm not even sure if it was a sensible chat, but it was a chat. Thanks for the chat. See ya.